Then from 55 or 54 on to around 90 is another whole section that's parallel. Each one is parallel. And what they are marvelous. Actually, what they are is actually the Vinaya. You know, the Buddhist Vinaya, called the discipline, when the Buddha would talk, Theravada, Mahayana, he would always say, you know, I've given beings my Dharma and my discipline. So he never just says, I give them my teaching. He says, I give them my teaching and the discipline, which means their implementation of the teaching. You know, the community, how it behaves, how it acts. And people sometimes translate that as ethics, but it isn't really ethics only. It includes, of course, ethics, the restraint of negative deeds of body and speech, especially emphasizing, ultimately the restraint of negative deeds of mind, which are negative thoughts or fantasies of negative actions or words, which are actually just as powerfully bad or even more powerfully bad than the actual physical or verbal deeds in a way. And that's where then the meditation becomes really a necessity. But what the Vinaya is like a behavioral operant reconditioning. It's like beginning to get at your habits from the outside. You know, it's like don't make gestures wildly gesticulate when you talk. Make certain kind of gesture only that brings the point home. Don't point with your finger like this. Gesture, invite people like that. Don't idly pluck grass when you're sitting on the ground because there's like beings in the grass and the grass likes to be there. So don't mess with it, you know, when you sit there, you know, etc. All these little things, you know. When you walk in town, like walking meditation, when you walk in town to get your lunch as a monk or a nun, look only 6 axle lengths ahead of your feet. Don't like look up in the windows. You might see a handsome man or a beautiful woman, depending if you're a nun or a monk. And then you might worry about that and become all lusty and sitting in meditation for 3 weeks. Because your mind is so impressionable because you're going deep into it. So don't just look around like, heavens, don't watch commercials. Don't watch the news. Just keep your eyes 6 lengths ahead of you. You know, look at people when you talk to them, but don't wander. You know, all these little things that begin to like concentrate your way of being and make your life harmonious even before you have realized that you should behave like that. You shouldn't say, don't do, I love this one, don't do sideways begging. When they come to you as you're a monk and they give you the robes, and there's a stack of robes, and you see one 4 robes down that is really that has better stitching. The one on top is a little frayed and you don't like the look of it. And then, so don't say to the donor, and they're going down a row of monks, and they're giving these robes, and you know you're 4 rows too short. So don't say, well, oh no, thank you, I don't want that robe. And you don't say anything else, and you're all pious, you're a monk. And of course you're saying in your mind, get the hint, buddy, give me that robe underneath. That's a crime in the Vinaya. That you have to like confess. You're not expelled from the order for that crime. It's not stealing, but it's sideways begging. It is so subtle about mind and speech. It's an etiquette. So this next section are all of these things like, I'm not going to behave like this and do like that. Once you're on this path of going after your inner demon of narcissism and self-absolutism, the pair of demons. Maybe they're 1, maybe they're 2, you know, 2 and 1. I mean, who knows? It's a puzzle, that one. And you're going to, while you're doing that, you're not going to get like, oh, I'm a great guru, I'm going to teach people. But actually, all I'm empty of is real, sincere motivation. He has all these great things in these other verses, which we'll read this afternoon. And it's a long section like that. And then the final concluding section is sort of the wrap-up of the, you know, samsara, nirvana, illusion-like reality, and so forth. Very beautiful at the end, you know, non-duality, teaching of sort of more philosophical and beautiful teaching at the very end after verse 90. And sort of celebrating, in a way, the triumph over this being. Because you have to celebrate yourself. Stop putting yourself down. You go to a retreat, you meditate even, you do even like 20 minutes of walking meditation, and out of that you have 14 seconds of just concentrating on your feet on the ground. In between all the other great things you were doing, or you're going to do tomorrow, or you're worried about yesterday. You'd be delighted you did that. You congratulate yourself. You know, that's why people have rosaries and they count Om Mani Padme Hum. Because I said it 10 times, that's really great. It's to congratulate themselves. Buddhism is not some, I don't have an ego, I'm a Buddhist. Ooh. see no evil. Baloney, that's not Buddhism. I'm going to save all beings, transform the earth. I'm going to find nirvana here. That is a very strong ego talking there. Relational, hopefully. De-absolutized, hopefully. Or even if not, totally de-absolutized, even using the false energy of absolutism in a non-absolute sense. Using it for compassion ahead of time. Buddha is as Buddha does. Replacing self-cherishing by other cherishing right away. Exchange of self and other. Replacing self-cherishing by lunch cherishing.